Hey, it's Jarret from fakeshemp.net, and this is the February collection update, arriving on the very last day of February, February 28th, and that's because I was holding out for 2 more deliveries to arrive. Unfortunately, they didn't make it to me in time. So with that said, let's have a look at what did arrive, and there is a lot of stuff. So first up, we've got Urban Legend, which is the feature film directed by Jamie Blanks, his debut feature. Jamie Blanks went on to do Valentine shortly after this film and then returned to Australia to do Storm Warning and the Long Weekend remake, or as it's known in the US, Nature's Grave. I think Urban Legend on DVD was in fact probably the second DVD I bought when DVD was really just first appearing in the Australian market. It was this and Godzilla, both from Sony, and so I've been meaning to upgrade this one for some time. But yeah, I was waiting for the right price, and it's actually now deleted locally in Australia, and I believe it's deleted in the US. Might still be available in the UK, so it's slowly becoming a hot commodity. And yeah, so I finally upgraded. I picked it up for under $5 delivered from a seller within Australia. And yeah, it was in perfect nick, so very happy to add that one to the collection. Next up is a bunch of titles I picked up during JB's last 20% off sale, which from memory was probably in late Jan, I think around Australia Day. So first up, the Jason Reitman drama Up in the Air, which I saw once, funnily enough, whilst I was on a flight from Melbourne to Perth back in, I don't know, 2010 maybe, from memory. Anyway, Up in the Air, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I really like Jason Reitman as a filmmaker. I loved Young Adults. I loved Thank You for Smoking, and more recently I really enjoyed his Men, Women and Children. Not such a major fan of Juno, but I'm really keen to check this one out, and the wife hasn't seen it, so yeah, it'll be cool to see it a second time. Up in the Air. Next up, Robert Redford's quiz show, which stars Ray Fiennes and John Turturro. I remember it being a really sort of gripping, drama. So excited to return and rewatch this one. Quiz show. Next one up is an Academy Award winner for Best Picture in 1960 with Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine and Fred MacMurray, The Apartment. Controversial film when it came out due to its themes of adultery. And look, I haven't actually seen it since TV broadcast, which probably is some point in the 90s. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out, seeing if it's still as funny as I remember it being. And from all reports, the Blu-ray transfer is really quite nice, and it's got some great special features that I'm looking forward to having a look at. Next up, another classic, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, the Sergio Leone film, spaghetti western from his spaghetti western trilogy, with Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More. I wasn't such a big fan of the other two, but The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is just an entirely, it's a classic film. I'm not a huge fan of westerns, but this film's just beautifully shot, the score, the performances. It's fun, and it's surprisingly quite violent. In fact, it's still rated MA. I believe it was R back in the day, but yeah, it's been re-rated to an MA. Yeah, looking forward to checking out The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the transfer on that one's supposed to be really good. That's the newly remastered release. Next up, Dreamcatcher. This is a film that took me about 10 years to see, I think thereabout. I remember it opening in cinemas, and at the time I was working for community TV in Brisbane, and for whatever reason I didn't get around to seeing it and didn't see it on video. Then I got it as a gift, I think, from my sister on DVD, watched it, and it was just, yeah, it was pretty average. A lot of aspects of the film I like. It's a huge cast, and it was just like really cool build-up in a very Stephen King kind of almost mini-series fashion. But then, yeah, it just didn't end well for me at all. But anyway, Dreamcatcher, I'm really keen to revisit. And yeah, it's one that I kind of got a strange fascination with. I don't love it, but I'm fascinated by it. So I'm looking forward to checking it out on Blu-ray. Next up, another film that I thought was pretty good. It was pretty good. Really well made, strong direction, beautiful cinematography, great score. Great performances by Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike and Neil Patrick Harris also, among others. It's just that it was just so engrossing and engaging, and by the time it got to its finale, which I won't spoil, I was just a little underwhelmed, and there was just a giant sense of disbelief. Interesting packaging for this one. I believe Dave Fincher has a lot to do with the packaging of his films internationally and how they're handled. This is actually, if you can just take that down off. I won't take it off right now. And yeah, it's like a digipack that opens up with a film. The only unusual thing is it slides in through the back like that. odd. But as I said, Dave Fincher obviously knew what he was doing. This is how he wanted it to be. So yeah, it's actually got ultraviolet in it too, which doesn't advertise anywhere on the packaging. Next up, a bit of a romantic drama, kind of tragic romance, If I Stay, with Chloe Grace Moretz, who's just an amazing actress. And this film, you know, look, it appeals to the soft side of me. I thought it was really quite good. A lot of people were going on about how beautiful and tragic and sad The Fault in Our Stars was. I watched it and I didn't really dig it at all. But If I Stay, I thought was great. Unfortunately, it didn't stay long in theaters. I think it was out for like 2 weeks and then quietly crept onto home entertainment. But If I Stay, worthy of a look for your softer side. Then one of my favourite films of 2014. In fact, I'm not sure. I think it might have ranked around number, I don't know, 6, 7 or 8, somewhere around there. Housebound from New Zealand director Jarret Johnston. At Fake Shemp, we actually did an interview with Jarret Johnston. You can check that out on the website. JB had a pre-order where if you pre-ordered the DVD or Blu-ray, you could get it signed by the director. So obviously I jumped on that. It's got all the same special features that are on the US release. It's actually a 1080i transfer, and that's because the film itself was shot in 25 frames per second. So there's a lot of people going, oh, I want the US release because it's 1080p. Well, yeah, it's going to be running at 24 frames per second, so it's been altered in order to run that way. But this was the filmmaker's preferred, I guess, frame rate for the film. Housebound from Reel. Next up, another really good film from 2014, Whiplash. Incredible performances from Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons picked up the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, and rightfully so. I haven't seen him play such an intense role like this since the HBO series Oz. But yeah, Whiplash is just an incredible powerhouse of performances and the power shift between the two. I kind of expected it was going to go somewhere a little bit more sinister, and it didn't. I don't know if that's just the weird kind of, I don't know, yeah, you know, that nasty side of me that wants to see, you know, it all end in, you know, some sort of, I don't know what I'm talking about. But Whiplash, a really cool film from 2014. Just lost my train of thought on that one. Another one of my favourite films of 2014 that ranked in my top 10. Again, I'm not sure where it's sat. I'm sure this was somewhere between 6 and 8. Kevin Smith's Tusk. Quite polarising. There's a lot of Kevin Smith fans that didn't enjoy it. There's a lot of people that just like films that didn't enjoy it. But then there's a lot of people that like both of those that did. Look, I haven't really enjoyed anything Kevin Smith's done for maybe about better part of 10 to 15 years. I think the last thing I really enjoyed that he did might have been Chasing Amy. I did enjoy Dogma. And, you know, there's elements of, you know, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back that I enjoyed, but I just found that he was just too busy self-referencing and intertextualizing all these films for me to actually genuinely enjoy them. It just found like a fanboy spoof fest. But Tusk was something else. I really dug it. It's a creepy, sinister little comedy. And, yeah, look, Justin Long was terrific in it. Michael Parks was great. But yeah, there's a lot of criticism for this film out there, but I really liked Tusk. I really thought it was great, and I actually thought it was quite emotional at points in time too, which, yeah, is strange, because I don't know many other people, apart from my wife, that felt that way. But yeah, Tusk. And the Australian release does port over all the special features from the US release, which I think was through Lionsgate over there. Next up is a film that I didn't really like that much, to be honest. I loved The Conjuring. I thought that was a really well put together film, albeit not a particularly scary one, but Annabelle was just, it felt like a rushed, cheap cash in on The Conjuring. But being a bit of a completist, I felt like I should probably have it to complement The Conjuring. I don't know when I'll get around to watching it again. One thing I did enjoy about this film is they didn't go for the cheesy sort of, you know, possessed doll of, you know, like a Child's Play or a Dolly Dearest or something with the doll physically moving about. That's something I generally liked about the film, but yeah, just felt rather cheap. But, you know, yeah, it was fun, and that's why I've got it. It's fun and a bit of a collection, completist piece. Game of Thrones Season 4, you know, Game of Thrones, probably one of my favourite TV shows. I don't really go into a heap of discussion. It's just enjoyable. I don't really get into a lot of fantasy fare, be it movies or television, but Game of Thrones tends to do it for me. And there were some pretty shocking moments in this particular season. But it's just really well written. The characters are so rich in depth. And, you know, for production values, it's hard to go past it. It's one of the best looking TV shows out there at the moment. Game of Thrones Season 4. Okay, so the next lot of DVDs that I have here are from a Fish Pond order that I placed last week. My first order with Fish Pond, in fact. And, well, you know, I got some stuff that I wanted pretty cheap. All up, I got 3 titles for around $15 delivered. So can't really complain about that. I was just a bit annoyed that they didn't advertise them as ex-rental titles. So the slicks were covered in stickers, as were the discs. I managed to peel most of those off, but yeah, still a little bit pissed off. And the discs themselves, you know, some of them are pretty heavily scratched. I know for one of them, it definitely doesn't affect play, because I watched that film last night. But yeah, not 100% happy. I just wish they were a little bit more transparent with the state of the discs and where they actually came from. But first up is the Troma film. Well, it's not really. It's a third-party type of Troma film that Troma licensed. And in fact, they've lost the license to it, and it's now unavailable anywhere in the world, as far as I know, on DVD. That's Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town with Billy Bob Thornton in one of his first film appearances. It may even be his first film appearance, I don't know. And Dan Calford, you might know from Weekend at Bernie's and Return of the Living Dead. It always seems he's got something to do with dead people, or at least the films I watch him in, he's always in around zombies or people that are kind of living dead, or yeah. Anyway, Chopsticks in Zombie Town, it's not a great film by any stretch, but it is a lot of fun, and as I said, it's deleted, and I've been meaning to pick it up sometimes, so I managed to snag it for a very cheap price. Ports over all the special features from the US release, the Troma release, except for the trailers that were on there, which is odd. I know there was a lot of issues with the Troma releases when they were being released in Australia, with like the Troma Intelligence Test and a few other little special features that weren't allowed to be released on the Stomp releases. This is the Stomp release, because I think by the time that Troma lost the license to this and Jigsaw released all the other Troma films back in the Australian market again, they didn't reissue Chopper Chicks, because obviously, yeah, the license had expired. But Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, just a fun movie. It is fun. The first time I saw this film was back in 1993 at the movies, in fact, with my mum during the Troma 2000 festival. I would have been 13 at the time. I dragged my mum along to take me to see all these Troma films at the festival. It was really cool. So yeah, funnily enough, it's weird to think I've seen this film on 35mm. But yeah, Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. Another one that came from the Fish Pond order, Breeders. Yeah, you know, I've toyed with buying this for a long time. I watched it a heap of times on video when I was a kid, and then I think that was probably right up until maybe, you know, the early 90s, and I haven't seen it since. And everything you read about it is usually scathing, very little good to be said of it, to the degree that this movie's so bad that it's just bad, that it's not, it doesn't have that kind of so bad it's good value. Anyway, I guess my, you know, weird side in me's gone, no, I have to do it. And it was cheap enough, so I've picked it up. It's the Region 1 release of Breeders. So yeah, looking forward to watching that. And after I watch that, I might actually watch, I think it's the 1997 remake, directed by the same director that's on Netflix. Then another one for the De Palma collection, Redacted. Not huge on war films or contemporary war films, but it's De Palma, and I've been trying to get through all the De Palma films for the last couple of years, so this is one of the last ones I've yet to see. In fact, I've never seen this one before, but Redacted, so looking forward to seeing it. It looks like Billy Corgan is in the movie. No, it's just a bald chap that looks Billy Corgan-like. So that's the Fish Pond order. So next up, Twilight Time release of Fright Night on Blu-ray, 30th anniversary edition. It's got quite a few special features on there, some that have been freely available on the net for some time, including a commentary track, but regardless, Fright Night's one of my childhood classics, and this film still holds up. It's terrific. Couldn't pass up getting the 30th anniversary edition. So yeah, 30th anniversary of Fright Night, which I imagine everyone on YouTube's already shown. Now, Warner had a promo they were running for, I think, maybe more than 2 years, could have even been 3 years. Scan the Shield, it was like a little leaflet that came inside all the Warner home video releases on DVD and Blu-ray for a point in time, and you could scan the barcode, well, you'd set up an account on the Warner site, then scan the barcode of all the Warner titles you had, and you'd collect a certain amount of points. I think I got through probably about half to 3/4 of my collection of DVDs and Blu-rays, scanning the Warner titles, and funnily enough, a lot of the UK and US releases actually work, so I got points for those. But the points didn't amount to much, and the prizes for the most part were pretty shit. They were like hangover, you know, bags, like canvas bags, and Jack the Giant Slayer t-shirts and things of that kind of ilk. Very little in terms of DVD or Blu-ray content you could redeem it for, but yeah, well, Warner Now is no more in Australia. As of March, they're going under Roadshow for home ent distribution. The Warner offices in Australia are closing down, so all Warner releases will be distributed through Roadshow on home entertainment in Australia. So subsequently, I think they were clearing their warehouse, and you could redeem the points. They had basically said the incentive's over, but you'll have like the next 2 weeks to claim your points or claim a prize with your points. And they had a heap of titles up there. They were mainly sort of just B films, like old catalogue titles on DVD. I don't think there was any Blu-ray from memory. But Up the Academy was there, which is like a Mad Magazine Presents movie, which I've never seen, and I've always heard it's not great, but it has its fans. And look, it was free, so I thought I'm going to get it. I'm going to make up my mind for myself. It's directed by Robert Downey, and I wonder if that's Robert Downey Sr. Not 100%. But it does have Ralph Macchio in it from The Karate Kid. I think it's his first film. Up the Academy. There he is there, Ralph Macchio. Next one up is a title that my good friend and fellow Fake Shemp cohort Glenn has passed on to me, Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, which he says is his favourite Akira Kurosawa film from all the films he's seen. He may have a new favourite though, because he purchased a box set that had like a whopping 50 or 60 films. I think it's the entire catalogue of Akira Kurosawa's films. Subsequently, he got Dreams in that, so he's passed on the Region 1 Snapper case release to me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. It should be interesting. He tells me by the time that Akira Kurosawa shot this film, he was actually blind, and he said it's his most visual film, even though he was blind. So yeah, I mean, that's intriguing on its own. So yeah, Dreams, looking forward to watching that one. Next one up is a bunch of titles that I would have got through Zavvi in probably separate orders. I don't know, I can't recall. The shipping's so cheap at Zavvi, 99 pence, that you can place orders quite frequently, and it's not a hassle. It's not like Amazon UK where you really got to get 5 to 10 items to make that shipping worth the price. But anyway, last horror film, Joe Spinell and Callum Monroe in this one. About an obsessed fan that's obsessed with an actress, and I think most of it's set in Cannes Film Festival. I used to have this on X-Rental VHS. That's how I first saw it, and yeah, I didn't mind. It was cool. It's just cool to see Joe Spinell in another horror role outside of Maniac. So yeah, last horror film. Looking forward to checking it out. It's an 88 films release. It has a nice little booklet with sort of, I don't know if it's an interview or just notes by Callum Woodell. But yeah, last horror film. Looking forward to checking that out again. One of my favourite filmmakers, David Cronenberg, and this is the Arrow UK Steelbook release, Blu-ray Steelbook, actually Blu-ray DVD. It's a dual release of Rabid, and it's really nice packaging using the original theatrical art. This is the art that used to be on the old Roadshow home video back in the day, but there you go, and it's got a booklet in there as well. Little postcard for Videodrome, which Arrow really haven't formally announced, but it seems that they're going to be doing that on DVD and Blu-ray later on, which is great because I already own it on Criterion Collection DVD, and I own the local Universal Blu-ray of the film, but I'll happily pick up the Arrow release because no doubt I'll have new special features and hopefully come in a nice steelbook, because this is a really good companion piece to my Shivers steelbook. But Rabid, I ended up watching all the documentary stuff last night. There's some really cool new interviews with Ivan Reitman, with another one of the producers, I can't recall his name, and the guy who did the special effects. And then there's a vintage interview with Cronenberg that was actually on the previous Rabid DVD release. There's a documentary on there about Cinepix in Canada, who funded this film and funded Shivers. And there's another documentary on there, another vintage documentary, though, the director's David Cronenberg, which has popped up on a few things I've had in the past. But yeah, Rabid, what a great film, and yeah, it's just a really cool packaging for this particular release. I've heard some arguments in regards to the transfer. Some people aren't happy with the colour timing and the colour grading on the film, saying it varies quite distinctly from the original theatrical or the old home video release, maybe even DVD release. But look, it was supervised by David Cronenberg, and look, he's the filmmaker, so I'm willing to listen to him. He's rarely done me wrong outside of Cosmopolis. Okay, so another 88 films release. This one's Toxic Avenger 2. I love Toxic Avenger 2. I don't understand why there seems to be people that that say skip 2, it's 1 and 4, they're the best ones. Well, no, man, like, I love number 1, that's by far the best, but I love number 2, I think it's fantastic. Number 3, it's good. Number 4, I just really thought was a waste of time, but Toxic Avenger 2, I love this film, this is great. I love the fact that, a bulk of the film's actually set in Japan, which is great. Another reversible slick. So was the last horror show as well, but reversible slick with the original art underneath. But yeah, Toxic Avenger 2. Looking forward to picking up 3, and I'll probably pick up 4 for, completeness sake. John Travolta and Nancy Allen in the Brian De Palma film Blowout. I actually had the local... In fact, I originally had the Criterion Blu-ray of this, but I ended up selling it off because this film hadn't held up quite that well for me. So yeah, I got rid of that, and then I ended up picking up the Umbrella Blu-ray quite cheap. Then I ended up picking up this cheap, so I'll get rid of the Umbrella Blu-ray and hold on to this. It's got a nice little booklet, nice steelbook release, and it's got some special features. Unfortunately, this one was through Zavvi, and this little bloody clip was snapped, so it's quite annoying. Didn't complain about it, because in fact, there it is right there. Anyway, yeah, I didn't complain about it, because their customer service is the worst. So yeah, a bit of a pity. Really nice art too. Really commissioned art for a steelbook release. Blowout. Okay, so the next lot of films are from a second spin order that I did. In fact, it may be 2 second spin orders. I think it might be. But anyway, let's take a look. The first one up is the Videodrome from UHF with Weird Al Yankovic, and Michael Richards is in there too. Heaps of people in this film, in fact. Fran Drescher and yeah, countless others. Yeah, a lot of fun. 80s comedy. It's got a very cult fan base. This is obviously the newly commissioned art, and underneath here you have like the original theatrical key art. Fortunately, yeah, you can see the barcode was punched because I flipped the art over. Bit of a bummer, but I got it quite cheap. I can't complain. I think it probably cost me about $12 Australian, maybe $13 Australian. Next one up, Hollow Man. I haven't seen this since I saw it at the movies, and I've never seen the director's cut. It's Paul Verhoeven, so anything he generally does has some redeeming value. There's a lot of people that are sort of a little bit, troubled by, there's a rape sequence in the film, and a bit troubled by that. Look, I wasn't really, affected, or I don't really have any opinions on it. I'm looking forward to revisiting. I'm hoping that the CGI effects haven't dated badly, because it was a very CGI driven film. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. That's the region A release. It's probably actually region free, because most Universal Sony titles, Blu-ray titles are. I think all of them are. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out. As I said, I haven't seen the director's cut, and yeah, I didn't love it at the movies, but it's Paul Verhoeven, so yeah, I'm quite keen to check it out. And I think that may be deleted in the US at the moment, because I know that it's been reissued in a 2-pack with the straight to DVD Hollow Man 2, which may even have Christian Slater, and I never saw it. Stage Fright, the Mikhail Sovi film, director of The Church and Della Morte, Della More. Yeah, it's a really cool film. Very cool film with like a slasher film where the killer wears this giant owl headpiece. Yeah, I'm sure that everyone's already seen this, but this new release from Blue Underground has an abundance of special features, all new special feature content, so really looking forward to checking that out. And, my wife likes this one too, which is pretty cool. I think it's because it's got a giant owl head, but anyway. The Mother's Day remake from, 2010-ish, thereabout. Didn't actually see this until I was in the States, and I caught, I think, the end of it on cable, and then a day or two later caught the beginning of it on cable, so I was able to kind of tie it together. I had no expectation for this film, and I somewhat avoided it for some time, not deliberately, just didn't really interest me a great deal. Yeah, anyway, I ended up watching it on cable when I was in the States, and actually I really dug it, so it's been meaning to pick it up for some time. And unfortunately, the US release only includes a commentary track, but it is DVD Blu-ray release of it. Actually, no, I'm sure there's something else on here. It says there's only a commentary track, but I thought there was something else. But anyway, Mother's Day. And I think this was the main reason I placed that second spin order, was for Ghost of Mars on Blu-ray. Another one that I'd held off buying for some time. I already owned the DVD, but then the Blu-ray's gone out of print. and now it's starting to raise, you know, in price. So I thought, well, I better pick it up. It was locally released on Blu-ray, funnily enough, too, but that's pretty hard to come by. So I think I picked up the Blu-ray from the States, you know, with everything. Probably cost me about maybe $7 or $8. So that was pretty cool. It's kind of got a nice little shimmery kind of metallic finish to the cover. As far as I can tell, it ports over everything that was on the DVD, maybe except the trailer. But yeah, Ghosts of Mars. Looking forward to rewatching that one. I actually really like Ghosts of Mars. You know, I think it's much maligned. You know, people have a lot of criticism between Carpenter and his latter films, and sure, I didn't think The Ward was that great. I'm not a huge fan of vampires, but Ghosts of Mars I really did dig. The Exorcist Anthology Collection had this on DVD, but upgraded to Blu-ray, and sold off all my... I think I had 2 different versions of Exorcist on Blu-ray because they had different special features and whatnot. And yeah, and other than that, I just had the DVD box set. So yeah, it was like a worthy upgrade getting them all on Blu-ray. The Exorcist. I'm quite keen to watch Exorcist 2: The Heretic. Because funnily enough, I think I got that Exorcist box set, and I may have only ever watched Exorcist 3 out of it. I haven't seen The Heretic since I was a kid, and everyone says it's shit. So I haven't been desperate to rewatch it, but yeah, I kind of want to go there. Almost did last night. Anyway, I'm looking forward to checking out the prequel films again. It's been years since I've seen those. Exorcist Anthology Collection, Raging Bull, Martin Scorsese film with Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, incredible film. I don't need to say anything about this. I'm sure everyone's already seen it, but yeah, a nice upgrade to Blu-ray for that one. And I think it's like it's an anniversary edition of the film too. Yeah. I think it's like, would have been probably the 30th anniversary. Probably came out about 2010. Next one up, one I just got for the wife. In fact, I rarely include anything I buy for her in there. Just, I don't know, because they're her things, not necessarily mine. But P.S. I Love You. We actually watched this on Valentine's Day together. And, you know, it was a different type of romantic drama. Yeah. And I guess it had some, this is a romantic comedy, but I don't recall it being that funny, to be honest. I think it was more dramatic than anything else. But P.S. I Love You, yeah, it was good, you know. I had no expectation for it. I'm not a huge fan of Jared Butler, to be honest. I love Hilary Swank, though. But yeah, it's actually pretty cool, and Gina Gershon's in it. Everyone loves Gina Gershon, surely. Next one up is the Todd Shalhoub's film, Palindromes. Again, this is a film that I didn't love the first time I saw it. I only watched it that one time. I was kind of disappointed. He'd gone from such a string of great films like Welcome to the Dollhouse, Happiness, Storytelling, and then came Palindromes, and it was the first film of his that I didn't really love. That said, after that he did you know, Life After Wartime and Dark Horse. I think they're the only other 2 films he's done since, and I really dug both of those films, particularly Dark Horse. So I've kind of come back going, I need to watch Palindromes again. Funnily enough, Palindromes is now deleted in Australia on DVD. It doesn't have a Blu-ray release, as far as I know, anywhere in the world. And yeah, I thought, well, I'll pick it up on DVD, and I got it for a really good price second-hand. So, there's a little booklet in there I didn't realise. But yeah, Palindromes. I think Glenn's a fan of this one, so yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out again. I think by the time that it came out, I can't remember if the Bob Dylan film preceded this or was after the I'm Not There, where they had everyone playing Bob Dylan. And this was similar sort of, you know, kind of concept where you have like a lead character, but she's played by a bunch of different people at different points throughout the film. I thought it was jarring and I really couldn't concentrate on it. Maybe it was just a little too ahead of its time. But anyway, looking forward to checking it out again. Now, lastly, this bunch of titles here are a bunch of titles that I picked up at a video store closure. I read on Facebook someone, who was it? Steve Dillon, who runs the Oz HorrorCon. I think he runs the Oz HorrorCon. Anyway, he wrote that there was a video store in Chelsea Heights here in Victoria that was closing. And yeah, he picked up some things. So I convinced the wife, let's go for a drive. And we hit it up, and I came away with a bunch of stuff, which is surprising because I honestly didn't... I'm not big on ex-rental titles, but all the ex-rentals looked to be pretty good condition, the slicks and whatnot. And the price was too good to refuse. $2 for anything in store. So yeah, I picked up this one, Life of Crime. Recent release. I think it was only released on Home Ent in January. A bit of an all-star cast in there. And it's based on an Elmore Leonard story. So yeah, a bit of a crime caper. So I'm looking forward to watching this. Kind of came out of the movies, I think, probably about September, October last year. Only seemed to play like the independents. But yeah, I haven't really heard a great deal about it, but it trailered very well. In fact, it kind of looked a little similar to, in terms of the story, it looked a little similar to Fargo, but and maybe even Ruthless People. But Life of Crime, looking forward to checking that one out. Then this was the best bargain that I picked up for $2, Not Safe for Work. I think I had to change this one out. I put this one in a DVD case because it was in their rental case or whatnot. I might say most of the discs, all the Blu-rays were in like immaculate condition from memory. Like not a scratch on it. Not Safe for Work came out mid last year. I think it was about June in Australia, straight to home end, DVD and Blu-ray. It's directed by Joe Johnston, who directed Captain America, the first Avenger, but also directed other films like The Rocketeer and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. This is a really cool film, very different film for him because it's not an effects-driven film. It's very much a suspense-driven thriller with a bit of action thrown in for good measure. I guess an element of kind of Die Hard about it. But, you know, I thought it was surprisingly clever and just very entertaining and the best $2 I've spent in a long time, you know. Had it not been $2, I don't know how long it would have been before I saw it. But, yeah, I picked up for $2 and watched that night and I loved it. I thought it was really quite good. And it's produced by, I think, Jason Blum from Blumhouse. You know, obviously the Paranormal Activity, The Purge, and a number of other franchises. But anyway, Not Safe for Work. Oh, and there's a review for that on fakeshemp.net that went up this week that I wrote, so you should go and check out that review and then check out the film. Next one up's another one I picked up for $2. Actually, I only got around to watching this one last night, though, The Oranges, which is kind of like a comedy drama. It's a very unusual film, almost about a guy going through a midlife crisis that ends up having a relationship with their best friend's daughter, who also is the neighbours across the road. And it's like two families that just have, you know, a strong sort of friendship from over the years. And yeah, anyway, it was a bit of an odd film, but it had a pretty good cast in Oliver Platt, Catherine Keener, Adrian Brody, or Adam Brody. Adam Brody, I think it is the one that played Seth in OC. Oh yeah, of course, the names are at the top. What an idiot. Yeah, Leighton Meester from Gossip Girl and a number of other things. Hugh Laurie, obviously, from House, and a lot of British stuff like Fry and Laurie. Yeah, you know, it was good. I really enjoyed this. It's probably not one that I'm going to hold on to. I'll probably end up, you know, trading this off or selling it off. But I did enjoy it. It was different. It could have been funnier, or it could have been more dramatic. It was somewhere in the middle and sort of didn't do either of that great. This scene wasn't actually in the film. I just looked at it, and that wasn't actually in the film. And there's no deleted scenes or special features on it. But anyway, yeah, no, it was an enjoyable watch. Okay, another one for the De Palma collection is Brian De Palma's Hi Mum with Robert De Niro in one of his first film roles. This is one of the first De Palma films too. This is from 1970. And I believe it's basically about an amateur pornographer. I was going to have a look at it last night, but yeah, I ended up watching Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. But yeah, looking forward to checking this out. I've never seen it. In fact, I think at a point in time, maybe Troma did distribution for it. I know they did The Wedding Party, which is another De Palma De Niro film, but I've got a feeling they may have done distro for this at a point in time. Anyway, Hi Mum, looking forward to checking it out. Can't really say much because I haven't seen it. Next one up is Rosewood Lane, which is from director Victor Salva, who directed the Jeepers Creepers films, as well as Clown House, and one more recent that I can't remember, Dark House, I think it was called. Which I didn't really like Dark House, but I liked Rosewood Lane. I thought it was really quite creepy about this psychotic paperboy. Rose McGowan in the lead role. But yeah, I really dug this. It was quite good. I've been meaning to pick it up for a while, and I could have picked up the US Blu-ray, which I think has a commentary on it, but I didn't, because I picked this up for $2 on DVD, and to be honest, I don't know if I'd ever listen to the commentary, and I don't know if it's really that vastly improved by being on Blu-ray. So $2, happy with that. Then last but not least, but maybe least, because I've never seen it, so I can't really say too much about it, is Nip Tuck, the TV series, which is from series creator Ryan Murphy, who was responsible for Glee, which I don't watch, but American Horror Story, which I'm a passive fan of. But Nip Tuck, and this is all the seasons of Nip Tuck, which cost me about $2 each. I haven't ripped off any of the stickers yet, but it's been one that the wife and I have been quite keen to watch, along with like Sopranos and 6 Feet Under, and we're just doing Sopranos now. So yeah, you know, $2 a season, who can kind of refuse? I think like the 5th season was actually 8 discs, so that was divided into 2 parts. But anyway, no big deal. Yeah, $2 a season. So yeah, I think I bought the entire series for about $14 on DVD. So that to me was you know, a risk, not a non-risky gamble. Anyway, I'm just completely and utterly rambling today, and I apologize for that. I'm not entirely sure why. I think I got too much sleep last night. But anyway, that is the February collection update. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back next month to take you through a host of titles. I've got a feeling that next month will be a little quieter, but I often say that, and it never is. Tune into our podcast. We've got a new podcast that will be going up in the first weekend of March. That's correct. But anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next month. Bye.